Hi gang, in this video we're going to be talking all things drones, so let's jump right in and find out how we use drones for survey and inspection. Here we go, we're just about to take off. I've got the controller here. I'm having a quick look around at the airspace before I take off just to make sure nobody's sneaked up on me, and off we go. What we're doing at the moment, we're just capturing some creative imagery for our client. We'll maybe pop a couple of shots into the video so that you can see what I'm doing. So what exactly is a drone? There are two types of drones that are flown commercially in the UK. One is this type, which is called a multi-rotor drone, and we'll pop some clips in of these flying. Generally they're a quadcopter, quad meaning four, so they've got these little plastic propellers on them here, and yeah, quad means four basically. You can get octocopters with 8 rotors and you can get hexacopters with 6 rotors, but these days, generally speaking, everything is a quadcopter. The other type of drone that you might see flying around is a fixed wing drone, but to be honest, they're pretty rare. When these things were first developed, you might remember the white DJI Phantoms that were came out in around 2010, 2011. Those things flew for about 7 or 8 minutes. They were bright white and they were quadcopters, and we really didn't get very much endurance out of them. When these modern drones now, this is a DJI Mavic 4. DJI are a company based in Shenzhen in China, where all the good technology comes from, and they're basically the biggest manufacturer of drones in the UK. In the world, and these things now will fly for about 40 to 45 minutes, which is just nuts. The beauty of this type of drone is it can be flown on something called an A2 CFC qualification. All drones in the UK, drone use is regulated by the Civil Aviation Authority, and they're all basically legislated based on weight, and it's very, very important. Obviously, the bigger the drone, the more damage it can do. This is a commercial grade drone, and this can be used for all sorts of things, from survey and inspection work to creative photography and videography. We've also got, in this case here, we've got a slightly bigger, it's got its big brother, and this bad boy is another DJI drone. This is a DJI M30. Now, at the end of the day, a drone is just a tool. It's just another tool in the toolbox, and drones can be used for all sorts of things, but ultimately it comes down to the payload on the front of the drone. That's the most important thing. They do lots of different things, from photography to videography to LiDAR to mapping to thermal, and they can be used for all sorts of things. This one here, we'll use this for things like deer counting, bat surveys, we'll use it for basic mapping tasks, we'll use it for pipeline corridor tasks and all that kind of good stuff. So let's jump back to the office and we'll talk a little bit about the legislation and how you can pull drones into your business. So before we head back out to site and we see those drones flying around doing their thing, we just need to talk about the boring bit, which is the rules. Because when it comes to drones, you can't just buy a drone and start flying it around over someone's house. There are laws. And if you are using a drone for work, which we do here at ROAVR, then obviously you need to know this stuff inside and out. So, CAA, okay? Everything starts with the CAA, and that stands for Civil Aviation Authority. They're the people that are ultimately in charge of the sky, and if it flies in the UK, they regulate it. Planes, helicopters, drones, all of it, okay? We've then got, can't read my writing, we've then got open and specific categories. So these are the categories that the CAA splits everything down into. The open category here, that's the simpler one. If you're flying a smaller drone like the little DJI Mavic 3, 4, 5s and you're keeping it in line of sight, you're staying below 120 meters above ground level and you're keeping it well away from people and built up areas, then you're probably in this open category here. Within this category, there are a further 3 subcategories. I know this gets confusing: A1, A2 and A3. A1 means you can fly over people but not crowds. A2 means you can fly near people but you need an extra certificate called the A2 CFC. And A3 means you can only fly well away from people, at least 150 meters from houses and built up areas. Which category you fall into depends on the class mark of your drone, and that is UK0, I think it is, to UK6. There's a label on it. Okay, in terms of specific here, this is where most of the proper commercial work sits. Things like the surveys that we do here at ROAVR, you need something called a GVC, which is a general VLOS certificate. And VLOS means visual line of sight, so you can always see the drone with your own eyes. And that GVC lets you fly in much more complicated situations, much closer to people, in busier areas, with a proper risk assessment behind every flight. It's a real qualification. You actually sit exams and you do practical assessments through a CAA approved training provider, and you can find some of those online. Now, the other thing that you need to think about is insurance. Okay, and here's the thing with insurance, people always forget this, but if you fly a drone for any kind of paid work, you must have specialist insurance in place. It's not your general business insurance, it's proper aviation liability insurance. No insurance, no commercial flying, full stop, essentially. And the final thing that you need to think about is register. My writings are terrible. You need 2 IDs from the CAA. You need a flyer ID, which you pass by a simple test online, and an operator ID, which is a yearly registration. Your operator ID has to go on the drone itself, and as of 2026, most drones also now need a remote ID switched on as well. So, to sum this up, you need your flyer ID, you need an operator ID, you need the right qualification, either for the open category or the specific category, you need specialist insurance, and your drone must now have this remote ID turned on. Get all of that sorted and you're legal. Skip any of it and you're potentially in big trouble, and actually the police do a lot of the enforcement. You could lose your permission to fly, and you'll definitely lose your drone and potentially get fined. So let's get back to site and let's have a look at some of these drones in action. So the types of things that we can use these drones for, essentially we can use them for photography. So if you're running a tree survey or an ecology survey company like we are, we were one of the first to utilise drones in the UK to support our ecologists. We don't charge the customer for that, we just use it to enhance our reports, so we can put photography and videography into our reports. We can also use them for mapping, and basically what that means is the drone will fly along with the camera pointing down. It will fly in a predetermined pattern at a certain height from the ground, and that will give us a number of photos that we can stitch together to make a map. If we put ground control points on the ground and the camera can pick up and see those ground control points, which are accurate pre-mapped points on the ground, we can make those maps really, really accurate. We can also use it for thermal as well. So if we're doing preliminary bat roost assessment on a building or something like that, we can use thermal to assist with that. We can use them for things like deer counting and species management and all that kind of good stuff. The final type of payload that we see very often is LiDAR, which is a laser rangefinder, and what that will allow us to do is strip away the vegetation in the final deliverable so that we can see the ground surface level. So these really are a very, very powerful tool, but they have to be used in the correct way for the right deliverable. So that was fun, wasn't it? I do love making videos when it involves playing around with drones because it's such good fun. The next steps for you, if you're interested in what drones can do for your business or what we could potentially do to help you through our business, just reach out and get in contact with us. There's a link in the description below which will take you through to our drone specific survey and inspection page. Always happy for people to reach out to me so I can talk drones. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.